Today we will discuss pioneers on the plains. When you reach a bulb, answer the question on your paper. In the mid-1800s, the middle of our country was dry grassland called the Great Plains. The Great Plains was also known as the Great American Desert. It was dry lands, dry grasslands, few trees, harsh weather, and low rainfall. Many Americans didn't think that the Great Plains would be good farmland. The United States government encouraged pioneers are new settlers of a region, to move there. In 1862, President Lincoln signed the Homestead Act. The Homestead Act offered free land to American citizens and immigrants to start new farms on the Great Plains. There were several requirements. You had to be at least 21 years of age and head of a family. You had to claim 160 acres of land. You had to pay a fee of $10, and you had to live there for 5 years. The settlers who claimed the land with the Homestead Act were called homesteaders. Sod busters were Great Plains farmers. You see, they had to rip up the grasses and bust through the sod before they could actually plant the crops needed on their farm. Sod was really useful for building houses because the region didn't have a lot of trees. We learned that on the second slide. These houses stayed cool in the summer, warm in the winter, and were actually fireproof. The soil was very fertile and good for planting. So of course, that was great for farmers. Well, people started finding out that the fertile soil was in the Great Plains. So it started something called America Fever. Many immigrants decided to move to the United States, and they brought valuable farming skills and seeds like wheat. Well, it was also a good opportunity for newly freed African Americans. They called themselves exodusters. They got this name from the book Exodus in the Bible. And so an exoduster was a name for an African American pioneer who moved to the Great Plains after the Civil War. And on this slide, you will see a picture of Benjamin Singleton. He is an example of an exoduster. Here are two pictures of several exodusters. Nicodemus, Kansas was the town that the exodusters established. Here you will see two photos comparing Nicodemus in 1885 and 1953. But life on the plains wasn't always easy. There was harsh weather and natural disasters, blizzards, tornadoes, hailstorms, flooding. None of that is good for a farmer. There was also blazing heat and little rain, and we know that farmers need rain for their crops. But also a problem were grasshoppers. Grasshoppers would actually destroy anything, from the crops to the fences that the farmers had built. But new technology helped make the homesteaders' life easier. Steel plows, they actually helped the settlers plow through the thick soil. Windmills, they pumped underground water to the surface and created power. And barbed wire was an easy and cheap material for building fences. Many people moved even farther west. New railroad lines brought thousands of people to Washington, Oregon, and California. Towns such as Seattle and Los Angeles grew quickly into important cities that are still important today. The West also attracted farmers from other countries. In the late 1800s, thousands of Japanese immigrants arrived in California. At the bottom of the slide, you will see a photo of George Shima, a successful Japanese farmer. Many built successful farms in the West.